stream. Hmm? Like anywhere, like anomaly is there, na? Like suppose isotherm is there, it will give you average temperature. Clear? And if any deviation is there, that it's called anomaly of the temperature. And spodic means the anomaly, the actual temperature of a place is called spodic type. So that is a deviated from the average calculated. Everything. Actual temperature is called spodic. That is deviated from the isotherm. Everything, like all the factors which produce a local distribution of temperature is a part of it. Now, next topic is, it's an important topic, jet stream. So, in upper atmosphere, one circulation, one movement is there, very fast blowing wind, that is called the jet stream. How it has been discovered actually? It was discovered in 1932, but nobody took interest in that. And during the Second World War, guys, during the Second World War, it has got importance actually, and it is recognized at the world level. So during the Second World War, what was happening? The planes moving from Japan to the American coast, crossing through the Pacific Ocean, going to the US, North American land, going to the North America. What they have discovered is the speed is on increase. The plane which is going from Japan to the North America or US part, they are on increase. When they are returning, moving from North America to Japan back to the Asian side, they are moving, the speed of the jet planes get reduced. So here the jet planes speed increases in this direction. In this direction, jet planes speed decreases. That was noticed actually. And today this notion is used for aviation too. So then scientists try to find out what is in the air, what is in the upper atmospheric wind, what is in the upper atmospheric wind is there, what is the situation of upper atmospheric wind. Later on it is discovered that there is a fast blowing wind that moves from west to east, that wind is named as later on is called what? Jet streams. So jet stream is now how can define the term jet has taken from where? Jet planes. Stream is a fast blowing wind in the upper atmosphere. So we are in a position of defining the term jet stream. So it is a fast blowing wind in the upper atmosphere at the height of around 12 kilometers. It is an upper atmospheric wind, upper atmospheric wind. It is an upper atmospheric wind that blows at a height of 12 kilometers. This is an average height. Okay. Keep this in mind. So it is an upper atmospheric wind that blows at a height of 12 kilometers along the tropopause, along the troposphere, along the tropopause, called as what? Jet stream. So now it is a fast blowing wind. So its major character is the characteristics of these winds are. So what is the character? First is the speed. It is a very fast blowing wind actually, very fast. So it's just from 100 to 500 kilometer per hour, 100 to 500 kilometer per hour, but today it's miles per hour it is said. So ideal average value is from 100 miles per hour to 200 miles per hour. This is an average velocity of jet stream which is moving up 100 miles per hour to 200 miles per hour. But in few cases it has been observed from in terms of kilometer per hour, 120 kilometer per hour to even measured up to 500 kilometer per hour. Not everywhere. So in terms of this, an average speed is this, and extreme speed may reach to up to what called 500 kilometer per hour. That means the speed of the jet streams are not consistent. Speed of the jet streams are not consistent. It blows but very fast. In general, it is very, we can conclude that is fast blowing wind actually, fast blowing wind. That is very much clear. This the first character is that it moves very fast, and average speed is between 100 miles per hour to 200 miles per hour. It even in the extreme cases goes up to what? 500 kilometer per hour. That is the first character. Second, upper atmospheric means, come on. No, hold on. This is the ground. What is the upper limit of troposphere? Tropopause. What is the upper limit of atmosphere is tropopause. So this is called, which is touching the ground, surface wind which is touching this, called upper atmosphere. This is the definition here. Is it clear? This is surface wind. This is called upper atmospheric wind. Upper atmospheric wind. This is a sinking, this is rising. Is it getting cleared? Not upper layer of atmosphere. It is upper atmospheric wind here related to all the wind we relate with troposphere. We do not talk about any other layers. Keep this in mind. So one touches the ground, which one is above the ground, which is touching the tropopause. So this is a ground wind called surface wind, which is upper atmospheric wind is here. Okay. Now the second character of jet streams. Second character of jet stream. Now these are not straight winds actually. These are not a straight wind. They move a zigzag path. They follow which path? Zigzag path, and cover the entire globe actually. Second observation is, second character observed is, it is a circumcircular wind, circumcircular or circumnavigating wind actually. Both are same. What is the second character? Circumcircular or circumnavigating wind. That means it covers the entire globe. It covers the entire globe. Suppose this is a globe. It is a globe three-dimensionally, so it moves across the globe and covers the entire part. Yes, this is the situation. Second character is, these are circumcircular or circumnavigating wind, means cover the entire globe. And it is more or less continuous. More or less, it is what? Continuous without break actually. One or two location that might be missing, but generally it is circumcircular or circumnavigating. That means the continuity is not broken much in this. Second character, so this is, second character is this one. Now third character. Now it is, in the diagram you have seen, it is not a straight line. What is the path? Right. Such kind of zigzag path is called what? Zigzag path followed by the wind here. Zigzag path of wind is called what? The meandering character, isn't it or not? So this is not a straight path they follow. They follow which kind of character? Meandering character. Meandering means zigzag path they follow. Any wave which are not straight line, not a straight line, is called as a rose-by wave. That is called as what? Keep this in mind. Meandering character, any wave, any heat waves, cold waves, any wind attain, rotating, shifting the direction again and again, zigzag, that character is called what? Rose-by wave. So technically, all jet stream are what? Rose-by waves. Keep these few characters in your mind. Still, many things is not known to all of us actually. Fourth character. These are not stationary actually, because jet streams meet divide, again meet, again divide, this process happen actually. Even 2-3 jet stream may merge together from a big jet stream. Sometimes that single jet stream may be divided into 2 or 3 substreams. So as a result, what happened, these keep on changing the track with the temperature, with the ground, with the thermal equator, keep on. So these are actually not stationary, they keep on shifting. Next character is they keep on shifting the position. All the jet stream shift the position with respect to especially with the 2 parameters. So shifting, that means jet stream shifting the position with respect to with respect to ground condition. First is with respect to what called ground condition. Suppose the wind is moving from land to sea or sea to land, it will change the path. It will shift the position. This is one thing. That means at the as the coastal areas, major location is at the coastal areas, jet stream shift the position because coastal areas is an intersection between land and sea. Is it getting cleared? So they shift their position with respect to the ground condition. On land one type, on water another type. And this shifting is mainly noticed as which locations? Coastal area. This is one part. Second, they shift with the thermal equator. They shift their position with the thermal equator. Second condition is, second shifting arise due to which position? Thermal equator. Thermal equator ka matlab kya? What do you mean thermal equator? Seasons. It means what called there are two extreme seasons. In summer towards what? Pole, and winters towards equator. The same. Remember guys, this is always keep this, that if pressured cells, atmospheric cells, even the jet streams shift their position with the thermal equator. In summers they move towards the pole, and in winters they move towards the equator. Keep this as a fact. Keep this as a fact. Okay. Now, now question is, why jet stream arise and how many types of jet stream has been observed? So first as types, then these are 3-4 characters, major character keep in your head. And what are the different types of jet stream observed till now? What are the different types of jet streams observed till now? Okay. So generally there are 2 types of jet streams globally and permanently present. How many types of jet stream? 2 types. One is at the 30-degree moving from west to east, from 30-degree in both the hemisphere moving west to east. That is another character actually which I have forgotten. Next is moving around 60-degree in north and south. There are 2 permanent jet streams, guys. There are 2 permanent jet stream, and which is one is at 30-degree moving parallel to the equator roughly around 30-degree and moving from west to east, and one is around 60-degree moving from west to east. Both, this is the one character. Both the jet streams moves west to east. This is one character. It has been observed. So this is called polar front jet stream, which I am just writing at 60-degree, called polar front jet stream, or also called polar jet stream. Sometimes the front word has been omitted actually, not written, not talked. Is it clear? So at 60-degree the jet stream called polar front jet stream or polar jet stream, number 1. First jet stream is, now second jet stream at the 30-degree called subtropical westerly jet stream. Westerly jet stream. So this situation is present in both the hemisphere, north as well as in the south. So even you can write down here also. Polar, sorry, subtropical, westerly jet stream. This topic has not been covered by many of them, I'm telling. And it is more tricky topic actually. For when about the cause, rest is okay, fine. Next is called polar jet stream. Polar jet stream. Next is called the polar jet stream. Now, this is the two permanent jet stream now. These are the two permanent jet stream the globe contains in each hemisphere. In each hemisphere actually. In each hemisphere. The question is why these two jet stream arise, or there are any other jet stream as well now. You are getting these 2 points cleared. Apart from these two jet stream, there are other jet stream. Answer is this. There are other jet stream to exist. So one, these are two permanent jet stream. The cause is different. Okay, number one. This is second. These are permanent, two permanent jet stream. This is one. Other jet stream is also there. They are all temporary and seasonal type and regional in character. Other jet streams are what? What is the character? They are temporary, seasonal. Even they are regional also. They are not global. They are also regional. Till now, the jet stream you have seen all are covering the globe. They all are what? Circular, cover the entire globe. But these jet streams are not covering the globe part. They are not covering the globe. They are not observed all the time. Observed some seasons only, some time only. They are not, that's what they are temporary, seasonal or regional in character. I'm giving the few names. One is tropical easterly jet stream. Tropical easterly jet stream. Tropical easterly jet stream. This is one. The location is of this is 15 degree to 20 degree northern hemisphere only. It is in which hemisphere? And it moves from opposite direction of these two. This moves opposite direction of these two. This moves from right east to west. Keep this in notion. Other jet stream, what we have seen moving from west to east, and this moves from east to west. That is an observation till now. One more has been observed at the poles, around the poles, called polar night jet stream. Called as polar night jet stream. Polar night. It is not polar jet stream. People get confused here. And people say that it is same as polar jet stream. No, it is called polar night jet stream. And that is at 60 degree. It is around the poles actually, 90 degree. So and covering somewhat. And it is not at the ground. All these three, we talked all on the troposphere, and this is in the stratosphere. This is observed in the right spheric jet stream. This is stratospheric jet stream. All are at the average height of 12 kilometers. So this is at the height of 30 kilometers. So this sudden facts cleared, very much clear. So that means polar night jet stream is not observed everywhere. It is observed at the near to the poles at the height of what? 30 kilometers. That height indicate which hemisphere? Stratosphere. That's called stratospheric jet stream actually. It is not a all are tropospheric, but this one is for some purpose I put it actually. This is, otherwise we do not talk. One more, rest of the jet stream, there are other are also there. All are local jet stream. Rest is declared as what called local jet stream. Rest of the temporary, regional, seasonal called local jet stream. So this is not to be talked much. To complete the upper atmospheric circulation, these are produced. So these are not talked. These two are required for some purpose to explain certain weather systems and certain phenomena, and it is important for your exam. These two are very important also. So only in detail we will be talking about these two as well as these two. We are not bothered about other local jet streams. Okay. First, these are the only types available and more popular jet stream discovered on the earth till now. And still, guys, the knowledge about jet stream, the science developed about its cause, mechanism is insufficient, incomplete, and still a few decades has to go to get mature. And whatever the science developed, I am just putting in front of you so you can understand it better. Okay. Why the permanent jet stream arise? First question is this. First question is why a permanent jet streams of subtropical westerly jet stream as well as polar night jet stream arise. So it is a byproduct of, if you look at this question, so this, if you look at the globe once again, so and recall the atmospheric circulation system. Recall what called atmospheric circulation system, where we can say very clearly that what is the layers actually. If you are able to see this is which cell? Hadley cell. Okay, what is this cell here? Ferrel cell. And which is this cell called? Polar cell. Three cells are there. This is 60° north, 30° north, and equatorial region 0, and this is 90° north. Okay, you know, this Ferrel cell is interacting with what? Polar cell at 60°, and this produces a jet stream here. This jet stream is called as what? Polar jet stream. And here at the 30°, Ferrel cell is interacting with the Hadley cell. It produces an upper atmospheric jet stream that is called what? Called subtropical westerly jet stream. And the orientation is of this, both the jet stream is parallel to the isobar. They move like this. They move like this. Isn't it? They move like this and immerse in upper atmosphere and cover the globe. They are moving like this. Now, two things has to be defined when you are explaining that. First, the character is the speed. You have to define why the speed is increasing with increase in height. That is the first technical question. Second technical question is why they are turning parallel to the isobar. Roughly they are turning what? Moving parallel to the, such winds called geostrophic. That is, if you are able to explain these two things, that means you are able to explain the cause. Confirm to yourself. Okay. So this is the geostrophic. Now, okay, in order to explain this, what is coming to our mind is cause, just cause of an permanent jet stream, cause of a permanent. It's come from the sketch, answer come from the sketch. So what is happening actually, jet streams are not producing when two Hadley cells are interacting. Now can you give a language for it? Hadley cell nature is what? Similar type. Here two dissimilar cells are interacting. Here the two more dissimilar cells are interacting. That means your jet stream emerge where? Two contrasting air masses or the cells are interacting, right? When, write down one simple line, when two alternate air masses, when two alternate air masses or atmospheric cycles interact, then steep gradient is produced, then steep STEEP, steep gradient is produced gradient, steep gradient is produced that drive the upper atmospheric drive that drives the upper atmospheric wind called jet stream that drive the upper atmospheric wind called jet stream, right? Full stop. It is characterized by high speed and parallel to the isobars. No, parallel to the isobar. So write down bracket geostrophic wind. Where you written parallel to the isobar, write down the word called geostrophic wind. You know, those winds that are parallel to the isobar are called as what? Geostrophic. That is the definition of geostrophic winds. Geostrophic. Now, our objective is to prove two things. One, speed increases with height, increase in height is the first objective. Second objective is they are geostrophic in nature. They are what called geostrophic in nature. So how to do this? For that we have to use two concepts, guys. First concept is called baroclinical curve. Baroclinical curve. You have to use two concepts. Then only you can explain it. One we have, in order to define the first character, so we have to use the concept of what? Baroclinical curve. So baroclinical curve is what type? You know, just two things we are doing. This is equator. Is it visible to everyone? So this is equator part and this is the pole, 90° north we are talking about. One is equator or the ground. Next is the pole. Okay, what is the height of the troposphere at the equator? 18 kilometers. Make it 18 kilometers. What is the height of the troposphere at the poles? 8 kilometers. This is 8 kilometers. So this is the ground. Now you touch the higher regions of equator and the poles. This is a theoretical sketch. Join it. Join this. So this line will be indicating what? Tropopause. This line is indicating the tropopause. Diagram will speak the first factor. Actually, if you are correct in this sketch, you know what is the pressure at the ground? Low. What is the pressure here? High. Good. So what is the pressure over the equator or the tropopause? High. What is the pressure here? Low. Please fill this diagram with both the pressures, the low, high, low, high. Written. So this is 8 kilometers. You know. What is the pressure gradient? What is the pressure gradient in the ground? What is the direction? From this diagram only. Do not think of anything else. From pole to equator. What is the gradient and slope direction is? From pole to equator, right. So this slope, the wind will be the PGF direction. PGF direction of the ground is from pole to equator. This is make with the arrows. People will understand. In the lower ground, the slope is from poles to equator. Now, when you are moving towards the pole, rising above the pole, that means actually moving towards which pressure? Come on, look at here and say, low pressure. When you are moving over the equator, rising over the equator, you are moving towards high pressure. That means here pressure is on increasing order, here the pressure is on decreasing order. Is it clear? So that means pressures are changing. That means that one particular height that is called around 4 kilometers. Around what called? At this middle age, the pressure at this point become equal. Pressure at both the points become what? Equal. Pressure is changing. Here it is moving towards high, here it is moving towards low. At the height of around 4 kilometers, pressure at both equator and the pole at this 4 kilometers height become what? Same. Now, here if you move further above 4 kilometers, if you rise, that means your pressure here would be what? Higher, here will be what? Now the gradient become what? Opposite of the ground. Isn't it or not? The orientation of the PGF, the slope of the PGF get reversed and start moving from where to equator towards the pole. So now, this is one. If you moving more and more higher, that gradient angle is on what? Increasing order or remain same? Right. They are moving higher and higher, this PGF is on increasing order. Is it clear? So here this is a PGF direction, pressure gradient, force direction. Now this same thing I am writing into the mathematical, just in above, observation is above 4 kilometers height. Observation is above 4 kilometers height. That we are defining as called upper atmosphere. That we are defining as what called upper atmosphere. In upper atmosphere, with the increasing height, what happened? Above 4 kilometers with increasing height, right? With increasing height, what happened to the PGF in this diagram? The PGF increases and slope is from equator to pole direction. Isn't it or not? From equator to pole. With increasing height, PGF also, okay. PGF means what? What happened to the velocity of the wind? If PGF is stronger, wind is also become stronger. That means the air which is moving, which is flowing in the higher regions are stronger winds. Isn't it or not? The speed is increasing. As the height is increasing, PGF is increasing. As PGF is increasing, what is increasing? Velocity of the wind is increasing. Is it this conclusion is clear? Clear to everyone's point? So that means we can conclude very easily that wind that blows in upper atmosphere is what? Very stronger winds that moves with a great speed. So first point we are able to speak very clearly upper atmospheric. So upper atmospheric winds blows at great speed, very high speed. That is one first point, that is an objective is cleared. Is it clear? No. This speed will arise at wherever the contrast of two air masses are what? More. So that means at the location where polar cell is interacting, the ferrule cell is interacting, the Hadley cell, this situation is more. This is okay. Can I rub this diagram? Drawn everyone? Drawn everyone? मजे ले रहे हो आप मेरे? Done? अभी मना मत करना, ठीक है? Okay, now the baroclinical curve. So baroclinical curve is proving that with increasing height above 4 kilometers or in the upper atmosphere, the PGF is increasing, that is increasing the speed of the wind. Is it clear? Number one. Second part, Second part of this geostrophic. Second part, we have to prove it. They are what? Parallel to the isobar. Now, make another sketch for geostrophic. Make another sketch for geostrophic. This is a high pressure areas. These are lines are indicating isobar. These lines are indicating what? Isobars. अरे भाई ध्यान दे दो नहीं तो समझ में नहीं आएगा हम telling. So this is a high pressure and this were widely separated called low pressure. Widely separated called low pressure. Otherwise you will be just keep on learning mountains, valleys, rivers, or entire UPSC time get lost into pressure. And you will not get to anywhere. This is 100% I'm sure. Remembering rivers, remembering mountains will not get you anywhere. Only you will just touch that, okay, you know this river, know this place. And how many mountains you can learn? In Himalayas itself, there are 4,000 peaks. Height, average height is more than 4,500 meters. And world ko to chhodi dijiye. And it is not called knowledge. Knowledge is what, why, how the things happen. And that's why the UPSC is little different. Now, okay. High on, okay, this is a PGF. PGF is from where to where? High to low. So now make the direction of PGF. This is the direction of pressure gradient force. Pressure gradient force. You guys, you work with me, I work double than you. I'm guaranteeing this thing. You work with me, I will work double than you to produce the results. But आप लोग सिर्फ करना चाहिए बस इतना गारंटी है. नहीं करोगे तो what will do? And do not get emotionally become idiots. That's the biggest problem of the country. कल भी बोला था आज भी बोल रहा हूँ. Okay, now move on this point. Okay, now wind start moving and here we are assuming altitude is on increase. That you keep in sight. First case, wind start moving in upper atmosphere, PGF is this. What is the second force will came? In upper atmosphere, frictional forces are zero. Frictional forces are what? Zero. Only the second force which is active is called or out. This calls Coriolis force. Which force? This is called Coriolis force. Any wind is a byproduct of three forces. This force is zero. This force is now acting. Now, think of guys. When velocity is small, your Coriolis force is also small. So, it is produce small deviation. When PGF increases, Coriolis force also increases and become more than this. Try to understand. It try to deviate more. When PGF further increases, with increase in height, Coriolis force further increases. Okay? And the deviation become further more. And at one particular height, you will see that PGF is equal and opposite of what? Coriolis force. So that means become one, PGF is in upward, Coriolis force try to move backward. Here neither will move upward nor will move downward. The resultant wind will be what? Parallel to the isobar. That situation, that kind of wind we call what? Geostrophic. You know what is happening in upper atmosphere, wind is moving with stronger speed. Stronger speed and Coriolis force is deflecting. Further higher it will deflect more. And further higher it deflect more. At one particular height, what will happen? That PGF become equal and opposite of what? Coriolis force. So the resultant wind will not move either this direction or this direction. It will move just parallel to the isobar, and such winds called geostrophic. Once this happen at one particular height, like 10 kilometers, 12 kilometers, 15 kilometers, start moving from east to west to east. Actually, it is not moving. Earth is spinning from west to east. Is push the air from west to east. So that whatever the strength is, is coming from the PGF, the direction is due to the rotation of the earth actually. So it starts moving geostrophic. So once again I am explaining. So you know where the above 4 kilometer velocity is what? Increasing. When velocity is increasing, what happened to Coriolis force? Now write down the formula for Coriolis. Coriolis force is how much? V क्या है? What is the V? Velocity of the moving wind. Now apply here. Height increases, PGF increases, velocity increases. Now apply here. When velocity increases, what happened to the Coriolis force? Now is it clear? That means per atmosphere, Coriolis force is on increasing order. So what is the role of Coriolis force? It's a deflection, more deflection. It's nothing but it will produce more and more deflection. Now first deflection is up to here. Second deflection is here. Next deflection is here. At one particular point, deflection is such that it balances with what? PGF. So this condition at a particular height, one particular height, what happened? PGF become equal and opposite of what? Coriolis force. Equal and opposite of what called? Coriolis force. Then resultant wind will move in which direction? Parallel to the isobar, and that wind is called geostrophic wind. Then the wind becomes fast, strong and move parallel to the isobars. And that's what it's happened. And this situation all get developed where with the contrasting air masses or contrasting cells are there of atmosphere. Contrasting cells you already know, Ferrel cell and Pollard cell, Hadley cell and the Ferrel cell. These are the more contrasting situation. One is hot air, another is cold air. One is further cold air than this. So the difference is increasing. Is it clear? Now I'm asking, among both the jet streams, what are the two jet streams you know? One is called subtropical westerly jet stream. Second is called polar front jet stream, which is supposed to be stronger. Right. That's what you guys are telling, this polar front jet stream is stronger. Absolutely correct. Reason is very simple. The contrast is on high. Here contrast is less. But when you come to the Hadley cell, there is no contrast. So it will not exist. Is it getting clear? So contrast is producing this kind of system with the increasing height. Is it clear? So that is the reason for, so you can just technically you will find two reasons. One is called baroclinical curve. Second is called geostrophic winds. Okay, these are the reasons for your occurrence of permanent jet streams on the earth. So other jet streams, what are the other two jet stream I said? No, third tropical easterly jet stream. Third I said is what called tropical easterly jet stream. Tropical easterly jet stream. Reason for this, other two jet streams are approved by that process. Remembered one thing, I will be doing again when we are doing Indian monsoon, I will be doing this. Here, there will be cleared. It is created in the summer season. It is created in the summer season due to Himalayan Tibetan zone I am writing on the board. It is created in the summer season due to Himalayan Tibetan zone act as a heat engine. Act as a heat engine. Keep this in mind. During summer, Himalayan Tibetan zone act as what? Heat engine. It produces a one jet stream known as what? Called tropical easterly jet stream, and its direction is from east to west, and it covers not the globe, it will cover only some latitude between 15 to 20 degree only in the northern hemisphere, starting from South China Sea, Southeast Asia, crossing the entire India called South Asia, and ends in the East African coast. East Africa coast. Reason is what called Himalayan Tibetan zone. Remember this. So reason for the formation of tropical easterly jet stream is nothing but a what called Himalayan Tibetan zone. During the summer season, it behave like a what? Heat engine. That heat engine produces this stream, and it covers only small latitude zone 15 to 20 degree north, moving from east to west, covering South Asia, originates at South China Sea, then crossing Southeast Asia, further crosses South Asia, middle of India it passes, and ends in the East Africa. That is the geography. Yes. And it is absent in the winter and the rest of the time. So on India, it is covered, it is from the June till September, and it is important for your monsoon. That's what I will do there. What is the timing? It has been observed June till September. It is observed in the middle of India. It moves from east to west. So this is the reason is Himalayan Tibetan zone. Next, polar night jet stream. Polar night jet stream. Next is called polar night jet stream. So it is observed at the height of 30 km in stratosphere. It observed at the height of 30 kilometers in stratosphere. It blows again from east to west, opposite to the general point. So in the polar region, night is nothing but winter season. It becomes stronger. Winter season, all the jet stream becomes stronger. Winter season, it becomes stronger. And the reason is called polar vortex movement. Polar vortex movement. Why they occurred? Reason remembered. It arises due to what? Polar vortex, VORTEX. Polar vortex movement arises due to polar vortex, and it is a very important concept. On internet you try to see what is polar vortex phenomena is. Physics I can explain to you here. Polar vortex movement. It arises due to polar vortex movement. So it is important. Tropical easterly jet stream for monsoon, southwest monsoon, it is important of India. It is important for extreme winters of, okay, it is responsible for what? Polar night jet stream is responsible for polar vortex movement is responsible for extreme winters in the ground, extreme winters in the ground. Extreme winters caused by which concept? Polar vortex movement. And even it is can explain this polar night jet stream, even explain the one more thing that is called as ozone hole over the Arctics and Antarctics. So polar night jet streams are required in 2 points. One, at the ground, polar vortex movement is creating what? Extreme winters or snowfalls at the ground. In upper atmosphere, in stratosphere, it is creating what? In stratosphere, the good ozone is on ozone hole. So we will study this under southwest monsoon, and this we will study with the ozone hole in detail, not here. You are getting this points clear. And the structure is in front of you. Okay, and the significance of rest of the jet streams. Significance of jet streams. Cause I have explained to you. Now the significance of jet streams. Because these two topics will be again repeated with other in detail. So just putting on hold on it. Now the significance of jet stream. So what is the role of jet streams are? Okay, first role is it is one of the method to define atmospheric circulation. Like we have seen atmospheric circulation one way, second way, now the third way is using jet stream concept. So jet stream explains the atmospheric circulation system. Atmospheric circulation system and how? Let's see. First role is when it can define the circulation system, it will develop their own circulation system, which is different type. Okay. Now circulation. Jet streams helps to explain what? The atmospheric circulation system. One is upper atmospheric wind tropopause, one is ground, you think of. Make a sketch, everyone. Make a sketch. This sketch is cleared, you can understand. This is upper atmosphere. This is upper atmosphere. This is the ground condition. That means you are moving from ground to the sky. Moving to the ground to the sky. Okay. The jet stream has a one character, it's a three-dimensional in character. Length is thousands of kilometers, width is around 160 to 170 kilometers, and thickness is, thickness is around 2 to 3 kilometers. So it's just a band, three-dimensional band moving like a snake all across the globe. And when it is moving, it moves in this manner. Think of it is moving in this manner. This is a jet stream. Imagine it's a three-dimensional air. Three-dimensional air. So its length is complete. It has, what is the length is? Cover the globe. Thousands of kilometers. Length is what? Thousands of kilometers long. Cover the entire globe. First part. But the width is around 160 to 170 kilometers around that. And the thickness is around, right, 2 to 3 kilometers thickness. This is the dimension of this jet stream, sir. And moving from east, west to east, circumcircular. So the permanent jet stream. We keep these characters now. Three-dimensional jet stream are three-dimensional in this. 3D. So in the, only you can see a line, but actually it's a three-dimensional. Now, this is a ground. What? It is zigzag. So it is representing a meander. It is representing what called? So meander will produce a situation at the ground as well as on other side too. What is the condition here? One, and this will pull the air upward. Please make the arrows very carefully. Making it will pull the air. Reality is very complex actually. Conceptually you can break down and you can understand. Okay, now many locations we are understanding. First this location. So here what is happening? Here is sinking, isn't it or not? So with this down limb of a jet stream is pushing the air towards the ground. So what kind of pressure will be developing? Okay, and at this point, air has been pulled towards the sky by the jet stream. What is the pressure? Low pressure. Okay, similarly, here would be high pressure, and complete this sketch on a road. This would be what kind of pressures? Low pressure. So, ground condition is alternate high, low is developed wherever it is happening like this. Now, let's see the upper atmosphere. What is the situation? If this is high, what should be this? So, if this is low, what should be this point? High. If this is high, this should be what? Low. And so on, right? So, this will be what? High. Okay, now ground and upper atmosphere alternate condition has been developed. Ground jet stream is producing, if high, above would be low, and vice versa. If ground is low, this will be high. So, what is happening at the low pressure? What the low pressure at the ground will do? It will attract the wind from all the regions. What the low pressure will do? Low pressure at the ground will attract the wind from all the direction. It is attracting from this high, and it is attracting from this side. What the high pressure will do? It will diverge the air from all the directions, away from, it's pushed away, pushed away. Low pressure is attracting the wind, and high pressure is diverging. So, the high pressure center is a divergent center, and the low pressure centers are what called convergent center of the air. So, two processes are happening at the ground as well as in the upper atmosphere. Low pressure center is attracting the wind from all sides, that is called convergence. And where high pressure is doing what? Pushing the air away from the region. So, what it is? Divergent center. So, this low pressure is what? Convergent center. This high is what? Divergent center. And like that, alternate convergence, divergence on the ground and the upper atmosphere develop. Okay. So, now one loop, can you see one loop between the two divergence and two convergence? Can you see the loop, everyone, in this diagram? Can you see the loop? Loop. Air circulation is a loop. Air circulation or atmospheric circulation is a four-stage part. One is a divergence point, is pushing the air. It's attracted by what called? Convergence. At convergence, air rises upward and produces here again divergence, pushed away. So, here is again attracted, that is convergence, again sink down. This is a rise of the air. At divergence, there is a sinking of air. This is ground air, surface wind. This is upper atmospheric wind. So, this is nothing but what? Atmospheric cycles. That means your jet stream moving up and down will produce the many air cycles. This is called atmospheric cycle. It's nothing but atmospheric cycles it produced. So, one cycle is produced by divergence, convergence, divergence, two divergence, two convergence, isn't it or not? Now, here look at, apply this. Air moved here, then moves here, then moves here, then moves sink down. So, one loop is developed here. Second loop is developing where it rises here, pushed here, and second loop is here. So, many loops has been formed by the 4 points. So, this is a surface wind, this become upper atmospheric wind. Loop get. Is it clear? And in Indian climate, it is very, very important to understand this. Dynamic model, you cannot understand them. Okay, now second significance. Second significance. First significance is help in explaining the atmospheric circulation system by formation of convergence. And so, in this diagram only, you can write second significance also if you want. Convergence centers is a cyclonic or non-cyclonic, anticyclonic conditions. Low pressure center is cyclonic or high pressure center is what? So, wherever convergence written you write down, it is a what called cyclonic condition. Okay. Low pressure center low pressure center is surrounded by what actually? If you're able to see, it's surrounded by what called? Low is surrounded by what called? High. So this situation is nothing but called cyclonic conditions. Second point, it will create cyclonic and anticyclonic conditions. It creates what? Second significance is jet stream creates what? Cyclonic and anticyclonic conditions. Cyclonic condition means what? Low pressure centers. Low is centered surrounded by high pressure. This is low surround. Now I'm asking this diagram, what is a cyclone or anticyclone here? Cyclone. Low pressure center means cyclone. Okay. Second point, high pressure center. What is the high pressure center? Means high is inside, low pressure. That condition called what? Opposite to the previous above one. Anticyclonic conditions. So second significance is getting clear that it explains cyclone and anticyclonic conditions. How a cyclone will form or anticyclone will form at the ground or in the upper atmosphere. Second significance is clear. Low pressure center is called cyclone and high pressure center is called, and that is produced by jet streams too in detail. Now third significance of jet stream is, right, it helps to explain the Indian monsoon mechanism in detail. It helps in jet stream, it helps to explain, it means jet streams. Jet stream explain, it helps to explain the Indian monsoon mechanism. Indian monsoon mechanism. One mains question is 10 marker question, 15 marker question, 12.5, whatever the question they asked, they can create the role of jet stream in Indian monsoon in detail. So just keep this, it helps to explain the Indian monsoon mechanism. Rainfall, when it will be occurring, when will not be occurring, northeast, southwest, western disturbance, all it can explain. Okay. Next, jet streams is explaining the mixing of air actually. Right. It disperses the pollution. Next significance is disperse the pollution all across the globe. If jet streams are not there, no industrial place or urban place is a place to settle actually possible by now. So why the jet stream disperse the pollution all across the earth? Because the global wind, it takes away everywhere. So role is dispersion, it disperses the pollution all across the earth. All across. So the urban and industrial places become habitable in spite of high pollution. Okay, next significance. The pollution is getting accumulated in those areas where the people are not living and creating a ozone hole depletion. Next, it also explains the ozone hole depletion. Ozone hole depletion in the Arctics and Antarctics. Arctics and Antarctic circles. Why? If no one lives in Arctics and Antarctics and no industries, factories or people settlement, and ozone hole is there, not in the Europe, not in China, not in India. बस ऐसा क्यों? कभी सोचा है आप लोगों? It's a very simple question, ना? People are living in everywhere across the earth, not in the Arctics and Antarctic, but ozone hole depletion took place in the Arctic and Antarctic circles. Why? Or above these Arctics, polar regions. Why? Have you thought of this thing? Why this ozone hole occurs at the poles? And one more thing, ozone hole depletion or ozone circle or depletion circle enlarged in winters. In winters, the ozone hole moved towards the to the lower latitude. It increases in size. Ozone hole increases during winters. Increases in the winter season. Why? Answer is already given. That's what I'm putting. Answer is what called polar night. Let me explain you this what actually happened. Okay, I said just ozone hole depletion. Just explaining to you. कैसे होता क्या है? How this phenomena happened? Okay, this is Earth surface and this is tropopause. This is upper layer of atmosphere. You know, jet stream disperse the pollution. So at the height of 8 kilometers, at the height of what called 8 kilometers, there is a situation that is called tropopause is formed here. Now you try, and this is 30 kilometers. Now it is up to 30. Just you try to understand, very simple. Okay, Earth is spinning. Where is the maximum spinning velocity is? Equator. Good. Earth spinning with very high speed at this point. Okay, this is an Earth. Velocity of the Earth is maximum here. This is a tropopause. This is air. Velocity of the air would be what? Come on. Only 1 or 2 physics guys, those who did engineering. वो बता दो मुझे. वो simple है. Total. Okay. Hint is this. Angular momentum at every point remains same, constant. Now this is a big angular momentum conservation. Okay. This angular momentum of Earth and the air remain what? Now see. If this total is constant, if it is maximum, this should be what? That is 0. Is it clear or not? You're getting everyone or not? So velocity of the Earth is maximum at the equator, and the velocity of the moving air at the top or the equator would be what? The minimum, the 0. When you're moving towards the pole, those who are moving towards the pole, क्या होगा? Velocity of the Earth at the pole is what? Right, minimum 0, correct. Now, velocity of the air should be what? Bus. This is simple science you keep in your mind. Velocity of the air at the poles is the maximum, and velocity of the Earth is the minimum. Now you think at the height of 8 kilometer, what is the phenomena might be occurring at the poles? All the air, all the pollutant, whatever the content of the air, all come finally at 8 kilometers height, tropopause. Now this is a ground I am making just I think you understood that at the poles, at the height of 8 kilometer, the velocity of the air is what? Is the highest. Now when keep this point, this is the ground, 8 kilometers bana liya, this is 8 kilometers height, this is 30 kilometers height. You are understanding what I am doing? Okay, what happening at 8 kilometers? Air from all sides, globe, air from all sides speedily coming at the tropopause. And what they are, suppose we are imagining is a vertex. It's like a vertex is coming, all try to meet here. And the velocity of this air is, suppose from all sides is coming with great speed at the poles, at the height of 8 kilometer. So it is moving like a spiral. It's moving like what called? Air is coming from all the direction, and at 8 kilometers height, at tropopause, this will create a kind of movement actually. Spirally air is rotating here, very high speed, maximum velocity. So maximum velocity air is rotating. Air velocity is the maximum here. Air velocity is the maximum. Now air is coming where to go now? Now, high speed air is coming and rotating. Where to go? Only two places, only two locations. From the height of 8 kilometers, either pushed downwards spirally with a great speed or move upward. And this is on this it is acting like a vortex. Can you see? It is acting like what called? This is like a vortex. And vortex is formed just over the which location? Poles. Vortex is formed at the poles. Poles. Over the poles, vortex will develop, and this movement only called polar vortex movement. Once again. No. No. So here is what? Here velocity of the air is what? No. At the equator, I'm telling you. At the equator, velocity of the air is not there. It's slow. Now, usually what happens, it totally depending on what strength it is coming. That deviation is called as tropopause deviation. That is not the air, it can move in the stratosphere also sometimes. That he got confused by one, everyone got it, what is his question is. Like there is troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, the boundaries are there, isn't it or not? Boundaries are not like walls. These are boundaries are of temperature gradients, not of air. Okay, now air is moving very high speed, like a spiral, it is moving and it has to go on two locations, either pushed upward or pushed downward. When it moves downward, it will cover large area on the ground. And when it comes over, it will cover large area at the top. And this will start moving like this, and this movement is called polar night jet stream. So this situation, night means what? Winters. This situation become more dangerous and this speed become more extreme during which season? Winter season. So as a result, what happened? It become more and more large. So at the ground, your winter season is spreading. Which season is spreading? So winter, like snow of the poles is spreading to the ground or larger. So this will explain the winter expansion or snow, extreme snow from the ground, but in above is what called polar night jet stream. Our concern was ozone. Our concern was what called? Ozone. याद है आप लोगों को? Our concern was ozone. Ozone from all across the earth is finally one day may reach to the poles. May reach to the what called? Poles. So ozone, there are substance called ozone depleting substance. In the pollution, there is substance called what called? ODS, means ozone depleting substance. Can you name certain gases? All are three sources ODS will use. Refrigerants, right? The cooling agents called, isn't it or not? Or right? Refrigerant or coolants, refrigerants, coolants, even this called as foams and all, which we used, all are technically halogen group. Which group? Chemistry is like that. It belongs to which groups? Right. Halogens groups. Isn't it or not? What are, can you name certain chemicals which belongs to halogens groups? Chlorides and fluorides. All are what technically are? Chlorides and the fluorides. Some bromide is also there, but it is less. But mainly is chlorides and fluorides. Chlorine compounds and fluorine compounds. Highly electronegative, I'm telling. This is the most electronegative group, halogen group. Now this we use in refrigerant gases and cooling gases. Can you refrigerators, ACs and all which were used? What is CFCs? Chlorofluorocarbon, hydrochlorofluorocarbon, HCFCs, PFCs. So these are, we are using it. Remembered or not? Yaad hai kuch? Okay. CFs, chlorofluorocarbon, hydrochlorofluorocarbon, PFCs called fluorocarbon. So all are the names. These actually reaches to the what call at the height of what? That means who pushed the ODS to this layer? Answer is what? Polar vortex movement only. Polar vortex movement pushed this to the stratosphere. ODS is pushed to this, and finally when it reaches here, ODS, and meets with what called O3, triatomic oxygen. Triatomic oxygen means ozone, and ozone, you know, this is more reactive. That means CFCs, HFCs, these are very, very reactive and react with O3 and form some stable compound. Just do not remember the compound, make some stable compounds of chlorides and fluorides. They form some stable. That means when ozone depleting substance meet with ozone, ODS meets with the O3, then O3 will be converted into somewhat stable chemical compound. Now, when more and more ODS, more and more what? So, who will be under decrease? Ozone, and this depletion of ozone called ozone hole. This is the reason technically or nothing else. You got this? How the ozone depletion process takes place and where it takes place and why it takes place and what time it increases. Now, I think your queries get somewhat resolved by now. So that means who is creating a depletion? Answer is ozone depleting substance. How do they go there? By concept of polar vortex movement. They reaches there, or when they reaches at the height of 30 kilometers, it undergo reaction and form stable compound. More ODS is reaching, more stable compound, that leading to decrease in what? Ozone, and that depletion in O3 will create in a hole called ozone hole. Thinning of O3 is called this good ozone. This stratospheric ozone is what called we call as good ozone because it protects against ultraviolet rays. Now this good ozone is under decline, under decrease. That's what UV rays may come and have in all skin kind of problems and all this. Is it clear? Cancer, leukemia, all kind of things could be caused by it. So this is the reason, actually technical reason. One question people asked actually in UPSC prelims or mains, why, right, and the question is for it. I think I'm done with the significance all, that's why I moved. Why ozone hole occurs at Arctic and Antarctic circle? Why ozone hole occurs on Arctic and Antarctic circle? Antarctic circle, in spite it is a pollution free area. In spite it is a what? Pollution free uninhabitable areas. Pollution free uninhabitable areas. Is it clear? Reason is what? Polar vortex movement. Which jet stream is carrying it out? Polar jet stream, and they remain there and create this. In which season they get increased? Winter season. Ozone hole appeared bigger. You know, there is one solution has been, this is the first international environmental problem everyone solved it 100% successfully. I'm telling, the first problem which we are able to solve till now, that is called depletion of what? And for 1987 there was a conference at Montreal called International Conference on Ozone Depletion. So Montreal Protocol. Which year Montreal Protocol was signed? 1987. 1987 was Montreal Protocol to ban the production and the usage, consumption and distribution of ODS. So it banned what? This international convention or international this conference protocol called Montreal Protocol is an international level. Around 193 nations are following it. Everyone is following it. It's mandatory to everyone. They followed it and implemented it. So which year it was implemented? 1987. So what is it? Banned the production, distribution and consumption of CFCs in the world. Okay, only CFCs. Recently one has been banned last year at Kaiga. So what is in African country, it is one more has been banned. Recently this has been banned. In 1987 this was banned. Now today, I think last year, this has been banned. Even this has been banned today. So India achieved this target already, CFCs. But India's target, please, this is one prelims question again. What is India's target? To close down, phase out HFCs. New protocol to phase out, not CFCs. The time, no question was CFCs would be there. That everyone achieved that CFCs target. New target is to phase out what? Which element? Which chemical? HCFC. Hydrochlorofluorocarbon. So to phase out HCFCs, new protocol implemented actually. New protocol implemented and accepted by all the nations. So now what is India's guidelines? So India's deadline to implement it from this year onward started. 2000, last year only adopted, and 2007 to 2023 they have to phase out. This has become an important deadline. Remember this thing. So when the India has to phase out the production of HCFCs, year is what? 2017 to 2023. Last year only this was implemented. 2016. Okay, new protocol came last year, 2016. Any doubt? So sometimes environmental issues are like that only. For prelims, it has become important. Okay, this topic is done.